Hello, happy innovators. It is time for the music. It is time for the coffee. How you doing? Huh? How you guys doing today? Do you remember a few years back when the rock band U2, who I've, mentioned in my past 2 podcasts, I figured I'd mention them one last time, okay, in this podcast. But do you remember a few years back when they sent their album out on iTunes into everybody's inbox, and they just got really pissed off that U2 had kind of like violated their privacy and just inserted their album for free into your inbox? Do you remember that? It was like the death knell for that band. I mean, they were at one point in time like the hugest band in the world, and oh my gosh, it would have made so much sense, to get a free album. Oh, how cool. But instead it backfired, like an example of like good intentions, just like totally backfiring. Isn't that hilarious that could happen? Do you remember that? I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it happened, And I think that maybe as time goes on, we'll see that really was kind of the beginning of the end for the largest rock band in the world, man. They were huge. And now I hear so many people talking about how much they hate that band. Now, I am different than most other people, and I'm still a fan. I always will be. I'll always be a loyal U2 fan, but I have to admit that lately they've been releasing some pretty wonky stuff, and they just released something new. I think it's called The Song That Saved My Life or something. And oh, brother, I was holding out hope, like I mentioned in the last podcast, holding out hope that, U2 would come back with like this great record that would just rewrite their careers and kind of like demonstrate to the world why they are so great. But that has not happened yet. Certainly not with their latest release. But I'll tell you what, when you go back and you watch some of their earlier performances way back in the beginning of their career, oh my goodness, you can see the magic of what this band used to be. And now they're just a shadow of their former selves, as far as I'm concerned. I can't believe I'm even saying it. But I am. So, anyway, did you ever notice how lately there's all this talk about, racial slurs, right? And like how there's certain words that you can't use and certain things you can't say about certain groups of people, okay? And justifiably so. There are certain things that are just unacceptable. There are some things that shouldn't be said, okay? You should be allowed to say them, but you should know better and you should know not to say them, right? But it's funny to me. What I notice is that there's all these different groups of people standing up, demanding that these names that they have been called, the images of them are removed. These dishonest or like insulting, stereotypical images and names and things that are hurtful, right? Okay, yet for some reason, okay, all the groups, all the people, they're all kind of like protected under this blanket of, hey, you shouldn't say that anymore, okay? But there's the group of people, let's say, that people refer to as like what? Hillbillies or rednecks or whatever. Did you ever notice how it's still okay to call them rednecks? It's still okay to call them hillbillies, and it's still okay to, mock their lifestyle. Did you ever notice that? I mean, all across the board. It's like for some reason, in the age of all this, cancellation and, people speaking up and standing up like for their rights, and like they don't want to be referred to this way anymore, right? Yet it's okay for anyone and everyone, as often as you want, and in any manner you wish to attack these people that are genuinely, hardworking people. It's okay to make fun of rednecks and hillbillies. And you know what the thing is that, to be honest with you, right here and right now, that's kind of where I come from. I grew up near a metropolitan city, but right outside my city, there were farming communities, rural communities, and that's where a lot of my family lived. And, they were these undesirables, these hillbillies, these rednecks, and I think about that a lot because I hear people talking a lot about how they're offended by being called this or being called that. But for some reason, it's okay. It's remained okay, maybe even encouraged to mock and make fun of and humiliate really the people from which I come from. And I hear it all the time. I see it all the time. And I never hear anyone ever speaking out about it. As far as I know, I might be the only person right now who really is. Because for some reason, it's acceptable to refer to people as hillbillies and rednecks and the flyover states, white trash, right? Think about that. Because, when I hear it coming out of people's mouths, while there might be, a part of me that's offended by that, at the same time, I kind of don't really care, what people think or what people say, even though they are technically making fun of me and mocking my ancestors, the people that I come from, the communities that I come from, of very decent, hardworking people who are, have their share of issues or whatever, just like every other group of people, right? But for some reason, those stereotypes have held, and it's okay to throw them around. It's okay to dress up like a hillbilly on Saturday Night Live and make fun of hillbillies, right? But why? Why is that acceptable and everything else isn't? Ask yourself that question, because I do. I ask myself, and it's so dumb, really, when you think about it. To be worried and, for me to be worried or offended or affected in any way by some idiot, calling the people or the places where I come from, some derogatory thing. It's I don't care what people call me. I know what I am. I know where I come from, and I know that I'm proud of where I come from. I come from great people in a great place. It doesn't matter to me what someone else thinks. It doesn't matter what they call me. I've been called everything in the book. You can't think of something I haven't been called, in my lifetime, and I don't care what people call me. I care about what I am, what I know that I am. And I don't have any, for me personally, I don't have any desire to try to control that or to make you call me something. It's I don't care what you think or what you call me, because whatever you think or whatever you call me is not going to change what I am or who I am. I'm not defined by what you think I am. So you can call me whatever you want. It doesn't matter. That's stupid to even worry or think about that, isn't it? At least that's how I see it. It's kind of I don't care. If someone calls me what, an asshole or what, a hillbilly or whatever you want, I don't care. I don't care. You don't define me. I define me. I know what I am. I know my shortcomings and I know my strengths. I know where I come from. I know what I am. You're not going to tell me what I am. You know, you might tell me what you think I am. But, you know, as I say in my house, you know, there you go thinking again, you know, good luck with that. Because it doesn't matter what people think, right? You know, recently I just heard Bill Maher, of all people. I can't even believe I'm saying this because let me tell you, oh boy, he was at the top of the list of people I could not stand. Okay. And I gotta tell you, I never thought I'd ever say this, but it seems to me, okay, that right now, somebody like Bill Maher, okay, is actually like the voice of reason. Can you believe that? I mean, there was a time, okay, when my political stance, my political position was true blue Democrat. Okay, we're talking, you know, a ponytail and a dream, you know, a backpack, doing the Earth Day march every year, you know, save the earth, because I believe, even though I'm not pagan, okay, as a Christian, I am obligated to be a steward of the earth and to not mess it up too much and to hand it off to the next generation, hopefully, you know, maybe a little bit better than I got it when I was young. You know, that's the idea. That's a Christian belief, believe it or not. So I had no problem participating in Earth Day, you know, but something has happened. I don't know how this happened, but my party, the Blue Party, the Democrat Party, somehow over the course of the past 15 or 20 years has kind of like lost me. You know, they moved on without me into some other direction that I just cannot agree with. I mean, it's just not tenable to me. I feel bad about it. And what's even stranger when I think about this, because I do think about it often, is that back in the day, like all of the staunch Republicans that I knew were like, are like now true blue Democrats, full tilt boogie, man. It doesn't make any sense to me. Somehow this whole red party, blue party thing just got flipped on its head. And what used to be Democrat is Republican, and what used to be Republican is Democrat. Like the Democratic Party used to represent the working man, you know, the downtrodden, like the people, the blue collar worker, you know, the people who are putting in 8 hours a day and they're just trying to survive, right? And then the red party, the Republicans, at least when I was younger, they always seemed to be like the rich people, the white collar workers, right? But somehow, through some kind of Jedi mind trick or something, maybe living in a simulation, which we'll get to in a minute, somehow the whole thing seems to me anyway, got all like flipped around. So now, like, I find myself associating or relating more to what the red party is doing or saying, and less with what my old democratic liberalism used to say to me. You know, it used to represent me. And now this shift has taken place where they no longer represent like anything for me. They have lost me. And I don't know how. I swear to you, it must have been so gradual or something. This change, this flip-flop of everything, you know, turned over on its head. So now that guy I knew that was like what? Like, you know, voting for Reagan back in 84, you know, he's like a staunch Democrat now. How does that happen? And somebody like me who was true blue, you know, doing the Earth Day march, like, I don't know, I'm watching like the people that Donald Trump represents, and those are like my people. That's where I come from. Like those are the working class people. I don't understand how this has happened. Maybe somebody will be able to explain it to me. I don't know. I hope so, though. I hope so, because it's very confusing. It's very disconcerting. And oh my gosh, like, what the hell is going on? Do you ever ask yourself that question? What a great question, but it's a real one, isn't it? Like, let's all just stop for a minute right now. Just stop. Okay. Now, I'm going to ask you a question. What the hell is going on? Can you tell me what's going on right now? Okay, so you remember the last podcast I released? I was talking about, acting and social media and, how you can't really trust that what you're watching is authentic. You might be watching somebody actually acting. You're reading a script when you're watching the news or when you're watching a video on YouTube or something. Well, are you ready for a thought experiment today? I hope so. I hope you're prepared. I hope you're in the mood for a thought experiment, courtesy of me, Michael Bostwick, from Pipe Choir Records. And what we're going to do today is we're going to imagine this. Now, I've heard this term thrown around like in different places. It's like a theory, I guess, that the simulation theory, like we're living in a simulation, which to me, right off the bat, just sounds ridiculous. Like it doesn't even make any sense to me. Like, how could we be living in a simulation? Like, whatever, like everything now has to do with computer code, everything since the beginning of time. Like, I don't know. Maybe I'm misunderstanding it, whatever. But, I've been thinking about that. I've been hearing it a lot, and like, okay, simulation. Like that's an interesting kind of idea to assert, like to the public, right? Like, isn't that kind of weird? Like, hey, you might be living in a simulation. What you're seeing may not be real, right? That's the message, right? The overall message. So, with our thought experiment today, since it's been a while, I thought it would be good to do, and I would imagine that we could go something like this, okay? What if, okay, that is how all of my thought experiments begin, right? By asking the question, what if? Now, what if, okay, everything we're watching or seeing or hearing on social media, television, YouTube, all the video sharing platforms, what if all of that stuff that we're seeing, or maybe not all of it, let's say for the sake of this thought experiment, we'll say like maybe 90%. Okay, now just suspend your disbelief for just a second. Okay, thought experiment number 4. Just imagine, okay, that 90% of all of the people you see talking on YouTube and all of the stuff you see on Twitter and TikTok and all the platforms, right? What if the majority of, or at least a great portion of what you're watching is actually fake? Okay, like what if it's not actual people really talking? It's some avatar that's been created by a computer, by somebody somewhere, and they're simply just typing in a script for these characters you're watching on this video, like to be saying. So you think you're watching a video of a person who's doing like a how-to video, right? Like how to do painting on canvas with oil paint, okay? But actually what you're seeing is not a person, okay? It's actually just a computer-generated person who is performing these tasks, and these words are coming out of their mouth, but it's not really their words. It's not really coming out of their mouth. What if the majority of what we're watching is actually a hoax? It's not real. And I'm not just talking about, small little things. What if? Okay, let's just ask that question. What if? Because we're doing that right now, right? We're just suspending our disbelief for just a minute and just thinking, what if Joe Biden is not actually talking? That it's an avatar, it's a computer generated version of Joe Biden talking. Wouldn't that be strange? Have you ever thought about that when you're watching some of this stuff? Like, even somebody like Donald Trump, like, what if whenever we're watching these people speaking, these two characters, Joe Biden and Donald Trump, what if, when we're watching them talking on camera, the majority of the time, it's not really them even talking. It might be their image, okay, on the screen with the mouth moving and the eyes blinking, and it looks real, right? But the words and the voice and everything and the image, all of it is manufactured. None of it is real. Can you imagine? Like, that would be the joke, right? When they say, hey, are we living in a simulation? Right? Did I get it? You get the joke? You're actually watching somebody say to you, hey, are you living in a simulation? And they're a simulation. The simulation is talking to you. And you think it's a real person. You think it's somebody sitting in front of a camera talking and, delivering this information. Now, that may seem outrageous to you, okay? But when you really think about it and you really kind of like ask the question, what if? It's not impossible. The technology to pull things like that off exists already, right? I mean, think about that. It could be anybody. And maybe in the beginning, they started out, whoever's doing this for whatever reason, which is a whole nother part of this thought experiment we'll get to in a little while. The why, like, why would that be being done? But if you really kind of think about it, it is kind of something that's not too far out of reach. Like, it's actually possible, like, that we have people behind the curtain, like the Wizard of Oz, that are literally writing all of these events that are happening that we read as, historical events. Okay, but what if none of them are actually really happening? What if that's all been computer generated? People looking in the camera and giving their testimony about what they saw happen at this place, and this thing happened and they were there and this is what they saw, and they're not even a real person. They're not even an actor. Okay? They're not even acting. It's not even a real person talking. It's the image of somebody moving. The mouth is moving, but the words and the voice and everything are somebody completely separate from that person. Think about that. And the implications of that kind of thing, and what that would mean to society and to our culture and to the events that are taking place and elections and everything would be touched by that. Think about it. If that is possible. Now, it is possible, okay? The technology does exist. The purpose and the reason is the question, like, why would they do that, right? But right off the bat, I can think of about maybe 5 reasons, that somebody would want to do that, or a group of people, a political party, or, whatever, military operation. It would be part of some larger secret movement or something. Think about that. Think about all the people that we recognize as, famous faces right now, the talking heads, Hannity, Donald Trump, Skip Bayless, anybody you can think of that you see, especially like those smaller, like YouTubers, those influencers, what if they don't even really exist? I mean, think about that. Your favorite YouTube channel, right? Like, think about that. Like, they're not even real people. none of it's real, and what they're saying and what they're doing or whatever is compelling you and me and the guy next to us, to do something or to act out or whatever. That's the idea. Think about that. If there was somebody sitting somewhere, maybe a team of people, that all they do all day long is write the script for the news reports, and there's somebody sitting behind a computer setting up the avatar to be talking for the evening news, and you think it's Sean Hannity, or you think it's, I don't even know. I mean, it could be Tom Brokaw, and it is the face of Tom Brokaw, okay? But it's not really him talking in front of the camera. It's somebody else that is, making the mouth move over this computer-generated face, and someone else's voice, doing the voiceover for the nightly news report. And you watch it and you think, oh, okay, there's riots in Portland, and oh my gosh, look how bad everything is over here. Oh my goodness, all these people died. Did you see that accident? And none of it, not any of it, is real. And how would you even begin to know? Like, how would I even know? How would I know? I can't know, because I'm like just a putz, I'm just a guy. I don't know anything about, computer generated avatars and all that kind of, how that's done, that technology and all that. I don't know about that. I would have to devote my life to it to even begin to know what any of that stuff is about. So let's think about that. You can go very, very far with this thought experiment, if you really kind of let yourself go, you really kind of think about it and all the implications of it, and the purpose and why, the influencing of the human mind and society, not just parts of society, but all of society, and not just in America, but like global. Like if you believe that you're watching, Vladimir Putin give a speech and the speech is outrageous or something, how do you know that he even said those words? How do you even know that he thinks them? What if it was a computer generated version of him, made from what? Millions of hours of tape and film of Putin talking, or maybe it's just completely CGI and they're just that good at it. Because, when you watch some of these movies, it's pretty good. And, whenever they tout that new technology, that face kind of thing, where they can take the face of someone else and put it on, somebody else, and they can make it can animate, it can come to life. Think about that. It's not far from possible that the majority of what we're watching, the majority of what we're kind of taking in as truth and truthful information or truthful testimony from these people may actually be completely fiction, completely fake from top to bottom, and you're just buying it because it looks real. It does look real. Like it fools everyone, right? And let's think about that too, because it's something that I've thought about, this idea with social media and the way things are going right now. When you really think about it, when you step back from all of the noise, okay, all of the Democrat, Republican noise, all of the music, and just all the social media noise. You step back, you remove yourself from it. Whether you realize it or not, every single thing you watch, real or not, avatar or not, every single thing you're watching is testimony based. Think about that. Everything that we're watching and observing right now is testimony based. Like when you go to Facebook and somebody posts what they had for breakfast, it's their testimony to you and to the rest of the world what they had for breakfast. Now, they may not have had that for breakfast. They may not have even eaten breakfast. but they give you the picture. They tell you that that's what they had for breakfast, but it can be totally disingenuous. And you have no way to verify. So, there's the problem with this testimony-based culture, is there really is no way to verify what's going on. Now, somebody may show me a newsreel on YouTube of riots in Portland, okay? And that's their testimony to the world of like what's happening in Portland, right? But how do I know that that's even really happening in Portland? How do I know? Me, this guy here, I have no way to verify what's real and what isn't. Unless I get on a plane and I fly to Portland and I find out for myself, right? So every single thing you hear, including this podcast, okay, is testimony based. I am talking to you. I'm telling you that I'm Mike Bostwick. I'm telling you that I'm a musician. I'm telling you that I'm in pipe choir and I make those songs and all the things that, I'm telling you that. That's my testimony to you. And you choose whether to believe it or not. Hopefully you choose to believe it because, I am me. The last I checked, I guess I can pinch myself. Yeah, I'm me. I am me. Actually, I'm going to get a sip of coffee. Hang on. Oh, man, is that good? Yeah, I am me. So even the Singularity Podcast is testimony based. All of it is. So when you watch an interview with Justin Bieber, how do you even really know any of it's true at all? How would you know if it's actually Justin Bieber, actually sitting down in front of a camera and talking? How do you know? You have no way to verify that. And the technology and the way things are right now is such where it's so easy to fake it. And no one really seems to kind of be thinking that way yet, time and time again, you hear this talk of, hey, are we living in a simulation? I mean, think about how many times you've heard that. I know for me, I've heard it. And it's like I said at the beginning of this podcast, when someone starts talking to me about, oh, are we living in a simulation? I'm like, what in the hell are you talking about? That doesn't make any sense. Like, no, of course it's not a simulation. This, table in front of me, all these things in front of me, they exist. I'm touching them. I'm tapping the microphone. Hear that? You know what I'm saying? It's not a simulation. It's real. It's tangible. But joke's on us. Like, what if? It's all fake. Even all that stuff when people are talking about living in a simulation, those people saying it are a simulation. It's like, what was it, Max Headroom? Do you remember that? Are you old enough to remember Max Headroom back in the 80s? That character was like an avatar on the television. He was all kind of funky and disjointed in his, robotic kind of like speech because he was a fake character on the TV. Think about it. Was he the precursor? Was he the warning? Was he the canary in the coal mine about what was going to be coming in the future? That you would turn on the television to watch the news and the anchor person you're watching isn't even real. It's some computer generated person who's saying words that some guy in a cubicle somewhere is typing into his computer. Think about it. It's pretty screwed up, but when you start to watch television after you hear this podcast, maybe when you watch, YouTube or any of the stuff that you normally participate in, all that testimony-based social media, okay, where you just have to believe that the people are telling the truth, that they're even people that are talking and telling the truth. Like, you have to believe it first. And if you believe it, then you'll listen, and then you'll believe what they're saying. because it is testimony based. That's all you have. You have no way to verify, right? We have no way to verify what anybody is saying on social media. You just assume it's true and it's real. Think about that. I mean, this is like, this concept, this idea is so massive. It's so simple and kind of like a Jedi mind trick, you know? It's really kind of weird, isn't it? When you think about it, how easy it would be to just mislead everybody, not just the right or the left. Like, forget that. This is way bigger than that. Don't you think? I mean, is that possible? Are we living in a society, a global society, where 90% or maybe even 100%, you know, is all bullshit? It's all bullshit. None of it's real. Whatever you're being told is not even real people telling you. It's all phony. And then, okay, the next question would be, if that is the case, okay, if what we're seeing through this testimony-based media that we're watching all the time, or listening to all the time, like, then what is really going on then? Which harkens back to my last podcast. Like, if this is all fake, or any of this is fake, even if a fraction of it is fake, well, then what's really going on then? Like, what's being hidden or what's being kept from us? You know? Like, if every time you turn on Sean Hannity, he's not even really talking. And whenever you watch Jimmy Kimmel, it's not even really him talking. It's somebody completely fake. It's a computer-generated version of Jimmy Kimmel, or Sean Hannity, or Stephen Colbert, or who else? Donald Trump, or President Biden, or Kamala Harris, you know, Vice President Kamala Harris. What if that's all just fake? We watch the debates, right? We watch the presidential debates. And what if they weren't even really people talking? That was just computer-generated people on a screen talking and like acting like they're in a debate, a political debate. And we watch it and we, you know, the comments and oh boy, and how it affects things, you know, the outcome of elections and how people feel and what they say, but none of it's real. You think it is, I think it is, because it looks real, and we just we assume, right? We assume, we believe that what we're being shown is truthful, that the people that are presenting to us these events, these things are being truthful. But what if they're not at all? What if they don't even exist? Whoa. And think about this too. Like with all this stuff with COVID, with the masks that people are wearing or whatever, think about how much easier it is to fake somebody talking on television when they have a mask over their mouth. Think about that. I mean, anytime you see somebody talking, giving a testimony about whatever they're talking about, it's a testimony, but their mouth is covered and you can't even tell if it's really them talking. Think about how much easier wearing a mask makes it to fake all this stuff. Do you ever think about that? It's crazy, you know? It's not too far from possible. It is possible. It is as crazy as it sounds. I don't know. This thought hit me the other night when I was watching television, and I was talking to my wife about my podcast and what I was saying, pointing at something on the screen saying, hey, look at that bad actor. I mean, they're so stupid. They think that they know how to act and they really don't, you know. But then it's like, well, what if we take it a little bit further? What if none of what we're watching is even real at all? Whoa. Thought experiment number 4. And it just stops me in my tracks, you know. It makes me think. Glenn Beck, you know, is it real? Is that even real? or who else? I mean, you can just name anybody. Think about all the faces that you've seen. Don Lemon. Is Don Lemon even really a person? Or is he just a character, an avatar that we watch on the screen? And he's not even really saying anything. It's somebody else. It's a voiceover person, or maybe a computer-generated voiceover, which would be even funnier, like Max Headroom from back in the day. Maybe I'll leave a link down in the bottom of this podcast for people to go and check out Max Headroom, in case you don't know who Max Headroom is. But the irony, how strange. You hear talk about what predictive programming, and like, oh my gosh, Max Headroom back in the late 1980s, was kind of being shown to us, and we thought, oh, how strange and avant-garde. We had no idea. They were just kind of like showing it to us, like front and center, like shoving it in our face. Like, here's what you're gonna get, so brace yourself. And then, starting God knows when, every single kind of influential testimony we witness, whether it's on, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, television, NBC, CBS, CNBC, it doesn't matter where you see it, it's fake. And they show all these clips of like all these anchor people from all over the country, and they're all saying the same exact lines. And they go, oh, see how they're reading from a script? It's all the same. Well, what if those people that are reading from the script aren't even really people? You just think they are. They look real, but they're not. Imagine that. Imagine that. How could you prove it? How would we ever be able to verify anything that anybody ever says anywhere anymore? The any, right? How can we believe anything from anyone, anywhere, anymore? You can't. You can't verify anything. There's no way to really know. How do you know, if somebody got stabbed in Orlando, Florida? How do you know? Because someone told you that it happened? What? A reliable source that you trust? Well, what if that reliable source that you trust isn't even real? And what if nobody ever got stabbed in Orlando and, it's all just a bullshit story for whatever reason? Maybe to promote fear, maybe that's the idea, or maybe for ratings, to boost ratings at networks or whatever. Think about it. There's a whole host of reasons why you would fake, and sensationalize any of the news or the testimonies that you're showcasing on your network. Do we live in a time when that's happening? I mean, does it sound far-fetched to you? Really? When you really think about how easy it is and how powerful that would be? That kind of deception would be so massive. You could do all kinds of stuff with that kind of game, with that kind of trick, If the people that were talking and saying things, the testimony to you, weren't even real people at all. They live in a computer. They're a character that was invented by somebody else. Some secret place somewhere, some secret person, maybe a military person, who the military has access to unlimited amounts of cash, right? So maybe the technology that they show us on YouTube or whatever, this facial kind of, fake face thing that they can do, like the version that we get to see is like the version from like 20 years ago, like it's so wonky. It's totally like it still looks pretty good, but you can tell that it's fake. But the new stuff, the state-of-the-art version of that software, oh, you can't tell at all. They can change anything. They can make it look real. It doesn't matter what they want to make look real. It doesn't matter. You name it, they can do it, right? I mean, does that sound impossible to you? To me, it doesn't. It sounds like it could have been, Why wouldn't it be being done? If they can fake it and they can kind of sway the masses like into one direction or the other, just by a couple of testimonial news reports that we're forced to either believe or just not believe. Like, that's how it is. It doesn't matter what side of the aisle you're on. It doesn't matter what country you're in. It doesn't matter what city you're in. It doesn't matter your gender. It doesn't matter. We're all watching the same fake thing. What if? What if? Now, I know that I'm repeating myself over and over again. I mean, I'm thinking this through as we speak. This whole thought experiment is, for me too. Not just you. It's for me too. So I'm going to repeat myself, but that doesn't really matter, because I was told once that if you really want your idea to stick, you really want people to hear it, you have to say it 16 times in order for them to remember what you were talking about. So we'll chalk it up to that, right? I mean, I'm aware of the fact I'm repeating. 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 So do you believe my testimony today? Do you believe it's really me? I don't know. I mean, of course it's me, but you know what I'm saying. How do you know? How do you know? You don't know. You just believe it's me. You're convinced it's me, right? And the same goes for me when I'm watching other things myself. And I'll tell you what, as soon as this idea kind of entered into my head and I was watching, the normal things I watch, you really kind of start to ask yourself, some of what I'm seeing is so outrageous. Is it possible that none of it at all is real? None of it. What if none of it is real? All the television and all the stuff you watch, all the stuff you read, all the newspapers, blogs, videos, vlogs, program television, all of it is fake. All of it is a simulation. And guess what? If that's the case, then we are, to a certain degree, living in a simulation, aren't we? And what's even weirder when you think about it too, is that a lot of the talk and a lot of that testimony that we've decided to believe as fact and as real, a lot of it is negative. Did you notice that? It's never really pushing people in a positive direction. It's always pushing people to the worst, base instinct, human response or, behavior, the worst behavior towards each other, and it works, man. People are so full of hatred for each other right now. And it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. That amount of hatred and visceral anger, is so unusual and weird. And a lot of times it's uncalled for, Yet that's the message we're sent. That's the message that we're given. Think about that, So anyway, that about wraps up this podcast for this afternoon. I hope that you all enjoyed it. And peace out, everybody. Have a good weekend. Take care of yourselves. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody that's celebrating Thanksgiving this weekend in America. And with that, folks, I'll say this. If you want to keep what you've got to give it away. Take it easy. Okay, all you happy innovators, I got some music for you. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to share with you something that's maybe a little bit unusual, but I'm going to share with you a segment, okay, of my record-breaking, Guinness World Record-breaking In the Garden, my 3-hour song. I'm going to share with you a section from that song that I like a lot. I like it. It's a song called A Day Like This, like the section was titled A Day Like This. And, it's just one of those things that comes into my mind once in a while. And the other day I was listening to it and, it's pretty cool. This little section, of this idea that just emerged. So I'm going to share that with you here. And hopefully you'll enjoy it. And hopefully you'll have a good holiday, everybody. You will be hearing from me soon. So without further ado, PC3's section, I don't even know, 8 maybe, section 10 of In the Garden, a track called A Day Like This. Check it out.